The Boston Marathon bombing suspects armed with explosives and guns battled law enforcement officers in a Boston suburb early Friday morning, unleashing chaos, until cops took one of the men into custody and the other fled, law enforcement sources said. Officials later said the suspect taken into custody died and authorities identified the man on the run as the white-hit suspect, referencing photographs released by the FBI Thursday. Authorities warn he should be considered armed and dangerous. The standoff in Watertown, Mass. Erupted shortly after the fatal shooting of a Massachusetts Institute of Technology police officer. A transit police officer was also wounded in the Watertown firefight, officials confirmed to NBC affiliate WHDH. Officials in Watertown were warning residents to stay in their homes and not open their doors unless a police officer is there. "There is a terrorist on the loose," said one officer at an impromptu press conference at about 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The suspect at large, believed to be the man who physically placed the bags containing the homemade bombs which killed 3 and injured 170 on Monday, was described as dressed in a gray hoodie, light-skinned male, brown curly hair. Law enforcement sources said the suspects have international links and have been in the country legally for about a year. The suspects approached the MIT officer and shot him in head, the sources said. The two then stole the MIT officer's cruiser, robbed a nearby 7-Eleven, and carjacked a Mercedes SUV, briefly kidnapping the driver, the sources said. At various points, the suspects threw explosives out the window of the moving car. The dead suspect had an improvised explosive device strapped to his chest, and the law enforcement sources warned that the suspect on the run may as well. Watertown resident Andrew Katzenberg described the earlier police shootout outside his house. "They engaged in gunfire for a few minutes," Katzenberg told NBC News. "They were also utilizing bombs, which sounded and looked like grenades while engaging in the gunfight. They also had what looked like a pressure cooker bomb." Katzenberg said, when he looked out the window he saw 2 people taking cover between a black Mercedes SUV and a sedan and watched them shooting 70 or 80 yards toward 6 Watertown police vehicles. He said the pair took cover behind the Mercedes SUV and were shooting westward toward the police officers. They also had backpacks. "It was a firefight," he added. "There was a long exchange of gunfire. One of the shooters then ran toward the officers while the other got into the SUV," Katzenberg recounted. The person on foot later fell to the ground, but Katzenberg said he was unable to tell whether he had been tackled or shot. The other drove the SUV through the line of police cars at the end of the street, he added. Katzenberg said that while he had a very clear view of the shooters, he couldn't see their faces, but described them as average size, average height. During the gun battle, a bullet ended up in the wall of Katzenberg's apartment, which is on the 2nd level of a multifamily home. Rebecca Carbone, 30, stood on the street wearing pajamas and a sweatshirt and had stepped out when she heard sirens. "We heard a loud blast and we didn't know what it was," Carbone said. "It sounded like a car backfiring." John Grimes, 69, a retired letter carrier, said that he heard 3 loud explosions, and you don't hear explosions at night a lot.